We're here today with Kirk Prozik, a man barely alive. Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. Today we're talking about stories of humor. Kirk, what kind of story do you have for us?
Well, the one I had on mind is, this goes back, I was probably like 12 years old or something like that, and our family had a summer cabin just down in Lower Gibsons here. It no longer exists, it's not there anymore, but basically a good buddy of mine used to like come around and we would hang out on the beach there quite a bit, waterfront area, whatnot. And a few cabins down from us there was this family, and I mean I don't mean to offend anybody by the way I speak on these people, but they were real preppy kind of like people, you know, like very materialistic, kind of like everything that they had was everything that they based everything on like what they owned, kind of a thing. They were real sort of proper and stuck up kind of a family, right? And we were sort of like the bad kids, I guess, that would muck around the beach and cause trouble, kind of a thing. And I remember this one time from one of the markets around here, there was a bag of ice outside the cooler. I don't know if somebody forgot to pick it up or like they were just about to pick it up or whatnot. And so anyway, for no particular reason, we grabbed this bag of ice and fuck off with it, basically, right? And we're throwing it around, we're throwing it at each other, and we're, you know, just mucking around with it, kind of a thing, right? And then we go by these people's cabins, because they're sort of like on the water side, but from up on the top of the road, you could, you know, see the roof of their house. And my friend, out of nowhere, just heaves the bag of ice off the top of the road and onto their roof, and all the ice like scatters all over the top of their roof. The bag with still chunks of ice, and it starts sliding down, and it gets caught in their gutter, right where their deck is, like where they would sit on the deck up below there, and it gets caught in the gutter, and all of the ice just starts like flowing into the gutter and stuff, and none of them noticed it, none of them realized. And I don't know what member of the family it was, somebody, but like this real nerd kind of guy, like glasses and everything. He would wear his pants like up to here, and he would like walk the dog, all sort of like with like his proper walk down the beach and everything. And like I said, none of them noticed this. So then we go back down the beachway a little later, and we're standing like on the beach outside of where their cabin is. And we say, oh yeah, like we just kind of say amongst ourselves, we're like, it is colder down here, isn't it? and these people are all sort of stuck up about what they own and the proper placement of everything and all of that. And so this nerd guy, he looks at us and he's just like, oh, why don't you spend time at your own end of the beach if it's too cold for you here? And then we were like, oh yeah, well no, this is actually the warmer part of the beach. That's why we came down here. We were just it just feels a little colder because of all the ice up on the roof. And then the guy looks up. There's like all this ice up there, and there's like water dripping down onto the deck, and the bags like hanging down and stuff. And at first he was sort of confused. He was just like, oh, I didn't know there was that ice up there. What's going on? And then we just start laughing our asses off like crazy. We just couldn't stop laughing. And then he turns around at us and in like a really serious tone, he was like, you guys put the ice on the roof. And we're like, no, we were just walking by, we seen there was a bunch of ice here, and we're like, oh damn, yeah, it's making it cold around here.
Naughty boys.
Yeah, and then he just kind of looked at us with the serious, and then he gets this ladder and he's like peeling the bag down, and there's ice falling all over the place, so we just start laughing our asses off again and continue on further down the beach.
Thank you, Kirk, for bringing us on a great adventure there. Even using the words muck around, I really had to double check and see what the pronunciation was actually muck.
Well, muck around, I guess that's, maybe not everybody knows what that is. It's just like playing around, basically.
Yeah,
right?
no, it just sounded like something else, which I won't say on camera.
Okay, well, you have to remember we were 12 years old, right?
Right, yeah, in
so
the muck.
Mucking around is sort of like playing around.
Right,
I guess, right?
You hadn't graduated to the other parts of the letters of the alphabet. All right, thank you, Kirk.
Thank you, Peter.
All right.
So I'm painting a school, and I'm painting in the hallway, and there's a double set of fire doors there, you know, when I'm painting the doors. And I see this, obviously a logger's wife, walking towards me, and she's literally towing her little boy, who's probably the spitting image of his dad, built like, you know, and she's yarding him down the hallway by the hand, and he's, you know, barely keeping up with her. And so then she gets near me where the door is I'm painting, and then she says, turns to her son, and she says, "Now don't go getting your hands on that wet paint." And he stopped dead in his tracks, and then he looked up at her and he said, "What kind of an idiot do you think I am?" And as she walked by me, I had my hand over because I didn't want to laugh in her face. I thought it was so funny. And then they carried on. But ever since then, I'll use that phrase if somebody wants to give me instructions that are like, smarten up, you know. And so when somebody's doing this to me, I'll say, what kind of an idiot do you think I am? So I'll pose it as a question, you know, not as an insult or whatever, right? And it's a handy phrase to have, you know.
You should have that on your T-shirt, Freddie.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the thing is, there's no comeback to it. The minute you start saying something to me about what kind of an idiot do you think I am, it's like there's no comeback to that, right? Because if you do have a comeback, what it is like, oh dear, I lost my thread. Well, you can piece it together. It's like, oh, now I lost it.
All right.
Okay, it's time to have something to eat, snack. So there was a hot dog stand in the mall. And I said, "Do you want a hot dog?" And she looks at me, she says, "Hot dog." And then I could see her trying to wrap this around her head. Like,
It's not Alzheimer's, it's sometimers.
yeah. God.
Okay, guys, I'm ready.
PJ's gonna rock the show. What's your story?
So we're going back now in time, back to the 70s, and living as a hippie on a commune in rural Alberta. And one day the parents show up. The parents show up to see what the hell's going on. And of course there's some little kids running around too. So the grandparents, the grandparents have never seen these little kids. One little kid's about 2 years old, and the grandmother comes along, never seen their little grandchild before, scoops the kid up in her arms and holds it up to say, you know, "Hi, honey." And the kid looks down on her. And says, "Put me down, you fucking asshole." This is life. This is life on the commune where people running around naked and fucking everybody.
In construction, doing high pressure water blasting, and the union sent this guy up with a bit of a heroin addict, but they give him some work once in a while just to get pay his rent. So he's 200 feet up on top of this building, and he's got the power washer lance in his hand, and we told him, whatever you do, don't tape the trigger down. And so the guy's up there, and he taped the trigger down, so that means you can lose control of it, cut your head off. And so he's standing right at the edge of a building, a couple 100 feet up, and he's got this thing that's getting away from him, and it's swinging around like a helicopter blade, and he keeps walking closer and closer to the edge of the building, and there's like all us other guys are down there looking and going, oh my God, right, he's going to die, he's going to fall off the building and die. So the guys that were running the pump truck went and shut it off, but it takes a few minutes for it the pressure to stop, and so he didn't fall off the building and die, but it was funny as hell.